I really enjoyed the outcome of this week's episode of 1923, which was more focused than last week's Season 2, Episode 2. 1923 continued to trace Spencer Dutton's return home. The Italian mafia ensnared Brandon Scher's Western protagonist, and he was compelled to consummate an agreement he was reluctant to reach by the episode's conclusion. Episode 3 concludes by delving into that plot point, offering a shockingly tragic incident that marks a turning point in Spencer's journey. A wolf attack may have killed Helen Mirren's Cara, while the Duttons in Montana had to deal with Jacob Ford stranded in a snowstorm and other problems. On the other hand, I thought one character deserved more screen time in the first season of 1923. Julia Scher's Alexandra was a standout. A big update came her way in the second season of the Yellowstone spinoff, where it was revealed that Alex is pregnant. I was hoping for a more substantial exploration of her story in Episode 2, but my hopes were answered in Episode 3. It was a welcome surprise to see such a huge portion of Episode 3 devoted to Alex's journey, which was not easy at all. I love how the show made a point to explain that even though she had arrived in the United States, it did not mean the dangers were over. In fact, there was a very complicated triage she had to go through before even being allowed to step foot in the country proper. That is when 1923 really made things infuriating. There were so many people in the same predicament as Alex. Families waiting to be reunited or folks just trying to get a better chance at life. But while there's a process to these things, which is to be expected, the triage was certainly taken a step, or many steps, too far. Alex did not only feel uncomfortable as she was forced to strip naked to be examined by 3 different doctors, but also afraid. Watching her squirm through the whole process was seriously disheartening. As mentioned, she was not the only one going through the ordeal, and seeing how some of the men in charge took advantage of the women trying to get entry to the U.S. was gross. Thankfully, Alex can stand on her own, and even though Spencer is not there to help her, she takes control of the situation. Although she failed to hide her pregnancy, which had previously disqualified other women from moving on, Alex gives an intense monologue about how the process was the least free she had felt in her life. She's then allowed to enter the country. Despite being incredibly smart and light on her feet, Alex is pregnant, which leads to multiple characters telling her how America is really not that safe, especially for a woman traveling on her own. I think the show takes on some important topics and presents them in the correct light, so the rest of Alex's journey should be interesting to follow. She still has a long way to go to get to Montana, but the kindness of strangers puts her closer to her final destiny. I'm looking forward to Spencer and Alex's arrival in the United States. The booze for the mob was on his way to Texas, and Spencer was en route. I could tell he was in for trouble when they gave him a gun to go along with the assignment. The loss of his companion Luca, nevertheless, left me feeling both sad and happy. I thought their adventure would take Luca and Spencer to Montana after Spencer rescued him in the premiere, which was a very touching sequence. But Luca was killed because his gang ambitions and selfishness were so bothersome. Though it is unfortunate, I am relieved that we may proceed. Cara had slain the wolf, which was good news for the rest of the Dutton family. Even Forge, Jacob, makes it back home without a hitch with the rest of the cast and crew. Having said that, a sea change does occur. Her back-to-back encounters with 2 dangerous creatures and her obvious distaste for winter Montana kept me wondering where Elizabeth's story was headed. She is so set on leaving that Jack may end up following her. A huge shift in their dynamic.